15th. I hope you guys are staying well, staying sane, staying safe. I am very, very tired this week, so bear with any lower energy that you might be accustomed to. It has been quite the week as ever. I tested negative for coronavirus for the very first time. I've never had it, as in I got my first test and it came back negative. It was very, very easy. As I said on last week's show, I'm going to be starting out with more real-world shit and then getting into the pop culture side of things. So I want to say how simple it is in big cities to get tested. I went to Dodger Stadium because I wanted it to feel like an apocalypse. I thought it'd be cool to feel like I was in a zombie movie, and I did. It was crazy having hundreds of cars all sitting and like going towards Dodger Stadium, and you're going to take a test to see how you're doing. It was very intense, but the actual test was super simple. I got my results back in 2 days. They said it'd be 3 to 5. I'm so glad just to know. And then like I said, I went back out. I protested again. I'm getting tested again on Friday. So you need to wait like 4 or 5 days after being potentially exposed, to get tested to make sure it's not like a double negative or whatever it's called, a false negative. There's the word. So I'm going again on Friday. And then, I'm going to keep doing that as long as necessary. So I'm self-quarantining. I went out and bought a bunch of groceries before I went back out and protested, so I didn't need to interact with any other humans. And that's going to be kind of my system for a while. Whatever activity, self-quarantine, wait 5 days, get tested. As soon as the negative comes in, buy groceries, make all the logical steps from there. So that is what my life will be for the foreseeable future. Movie theaters are talking about opening back up. I don't think I'll be attending them very, very soon unless things change rapidly. If I do attend, what I will probably do is take a test about 4 days before I plan to go to the movie. Wait for it to come back. If it comes back negative, hopefully when it comes back negative, go see the movie, have groceries already at home, self-quarantine for 5 days, take another test. That's the only way I can see logically seeing a movie, which would mean like a movie every 2 weeks, and it would mean a lot of time sitting in line to get COVID testing. But I can see no other way to keep everybody safe. We're going to be talking about Regal and their planned safety precautions here in a minute. We're going to be talking about the San Diego Comic-Con at home situation. We're going to be talking about DC Fandome, all of that jazz. But I want to be clear that just because Black Lives Matter isn't trending at the top of your page, and it might be trending like more intermittently, doesn't mean it's any less important. Somehow in the year 2020, this year, the fucking present, modern day, 5 Black lives ended this month due to hangings, due to lynchings in the present fucking day. I don't know how my brain can't quite wrap my head around. I don't even have the words. I usually can articulate. What the fuck? And then they called a bunch of them suicides, and then they were like, oh, people are actually looking at this. No, they aren't suicides. Fuck. So, just be better. Obviously, I know you guys are great people, but anything you can do to spread awareness to ignorance and stupidity and be anti-racist, not just not racist, and anything you can do to boost the message of Black Lives Matter and to do everything that you can to subvert the systemic racism that we've been inundated with, please fucking do. Talk to your crazy grandparents that might see the world a little backwards. Talk to your parents that might just be quiet about this shit. Like, when we're silent, we're complicit in all this madness. So, again, 5 lives this month hung. Fuck that. It's terrifying. And yeah, so I'm gonna move into pop culture stuff because I had a really angry podcast that drops tomorrow. Check out Coycast tomorrow, and I was a little more aggressive in that than I tend to want to be. I'm just really grossed out by the world, so I'm trying to balance my excitement for pop culture with the realities of our present American culture and the failures therein. So Black Lives Matter. How the fuck that's a conversation is alarming to me. And every time I make one of these videos, I hemorrhage followers, and good, fuck them. I don't want to be giving... This is for entertainment. This is to, make us all feel connected. I don't want to connect with those fucks. I don't want to entertain those cunts. I don't want to be a part of any of that shit. So fuck them. If you've got any problem with Black Lives Matter movement, if you have any problem with looking at police brutality, if you have any problem with fixing the world, fuck off my page, fuck off my Instagram, fuck off my Twitter, just get the fuck away from me. And I hope you have a really rough life. Okay, to pop culture. I love you guys. You guys are the best. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being good people. This week, we found out that DC is doing their own Comic-Con called DC Fandome. And DC Fandome is fascinating to me because it is basically DC drawing a line in the sand and separating from the entirety of San Diego Comic-Con, even though SDCC is going to be at home. So I'm fascinated by that in general. I see you, Jimmy Mac. I'm going to get to that. Thank you very, very, very much for the super chat. I'm going to get to that in just a moment. DC Fandome is going to be basically their own Comic-Con, like kind of how Marvel does D23. Because they're part of Disney, Warner Brothers is opting to do a DC Fandome event completely separate over there and have their own stream. Now, what's interesting to me about that is, one, it's going to be full of lots and lots of exclusives. Two, it's going to be streamed only for 24 hours, which is going to make the things feel even more exclusive. I'm sure there'll be bootlegs and stuff because life happens, but theoretically, all of the content at the DC Fandome event is only going to be available for those 24 hours. So it's going to have exclusives from creators and cast. It's going to be TV and film. I hope it's got a decent comic book presence, like the actual comics themselves. There's going to be a lot going on with DC Fandome, and I'm fascinated by the whole thing. Casting creators of Aquaman, the Batman, Batwoman, Black Adam, Black Lightning, DC Superhero Girls, DC's Legend of Tomorrow, DC's Stargirl, Doom Patrol, The Flash, Harley Quinn, the Snyder Cut of Justice League, Lucifer, Pennyworth, Shazam, the Suicide Squad, Supergirl, Superman and Lois, Teen Titans Go, Titans, Watchmen, Young Justice, and Outsiders, and of course Wonder Woman 1984 are all gonna be in attendance. Guys, just listening to that list of things that DC has on the docket is incredible, much less them all being in one space. We are in for a crazy time. It is a free event. It is on August 22nd at 10 a.m. So from August 22nd at 10 a.m. through August 23rd at 10 a.m., there is all of that content. It's going to be split up in 6 different areas, and there's going to be 10 languages of translation. So there's going to be worldwide DC exclusives and 10 languages, depending on where you are in the world, to access this insanity, which is so freaking cool. As far as I've seen, there's not a lot of DC comic book presence. I'm hoping that changes. There are 6 different areas, so maybe one of those can bolster some comics up. But the idea that we're going to have some new Snyder Cut information is very exciting. The idea that we're going to have some The Suicide Squad information. I have a feeling that when Tenet drops, the trailers for that are going to be absolutely insane. I think we're going to get a first look at the Batman. I think we're going to get our first look at the Suicide Squad. I think all of that is then going to tie directly into this very event. Theoretically, we are getting the Tenet released on July 31st. So 3 weeks later, on August 22nd, boom, this event. Plenty of time for a trailer to have lived exclusively with Tenet, and then to have new footage pop up over on this, which is a fascinating and great opportunity for DC and Warner Brothers in general. I'm very, very excited. So keep an eye on it. DC Fandome is where you can find all that jazz. Keep your eyes peeled for any exclusive that might be teased beforehand. I know James Gunn has been very active on his Instagram talking about how excited he is for this event. I very much think we're going to get a decent amount of the Suicide Squad stuff coming at us very, very soon. So check that out. Over in the Super Chats, we've got Jimmy Mac 9588 saying Australian cinemas are open, and we've got all the December and January films screening. On the plus side, I saw Inception on the big screen for the first time. Keep fighting the good fight and bringing the positivity. Dude, Inception being 10 years old is insane to me. Inception is a movie that means a lot to me because the very first short, the only short I've ever directed or been a part of any sort of scope, was when Inception was coming out on Blu-ray. I did this short for Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Joe Gordon-Levitt over at Hit Record, and Hit Record bought it for Warner Brothers, and a clip of a short I am a part of is on the Inception Blu-ray. So something I'm starring in and helped direct, produce, create is a part of the Inception Blu-ray. So if you own the Inception Blu-ray, you have a piece of creation I have made in your home, and that is so cool to me. It is called Lucid Reality. I am a demon in it. I've got like black contacts. I'm all blue. We did like 6 hours, 4 to 6 hours of prosthetics and makeup for the character. I play like the essence of Nightmare in it. So Inception means a lot to me because I got to be a part of something. and I'm like honored to that to this day. 10 years later, it's really fucking cool. So Inception means the world to me. I want to see it in theaters again, and I can't believe it's 10 years. But I don't know if I feel safe to get back over there. So I think Australia has infinitely better numbers than I do. Coy, the country, than America does, than we do. So I think it's a bit safer, but be careful. Get tested as often as you can. Hell yeah for that experience for you. I'm very happy for you, and enjoy those movies. Support theaters. I love me some movie theaters. All right, over to Lewis Cox, who is from somewhere with a different monetary symbol. I assume the UK. Hey Coy, love you man, please stay safe. Oh man, PS5 looks great. Also Miles in his own Spider-Man game. I am getting that good shit. I will be talking about the PS5 release because I still don't quite know what this Miles Morales game is. They compared it to Uncharted 4, which had its own like spin-off game, but apparently it's based on the same mechanics of another Uncharted game, so it's not quite a DLC and not quite its own game. It's like in between. It's more than a DLC but less than its own game, and I guess that's what Miles is. You play as Miles in the mechanics of the 2018 Spider-Man game. I'm sure there's new villains. I'm sure there's new voice stuff. I'm sure it's a lot of new stuff on the PS5 engine. But I thought it was its own game, and I'm very confused, and I can't seem to find a link that says definitively what it is. We're going to talk about that more here in a minute. So yeah, it's been quite the thing going on with PS5. Holiday 2020 feels like it's going to be 10 years from now, and also like next week. The way time's moving without any sort of general linear progress is very alarming. It is currently June 16th, and I keep thinking it's March. I keep thinking it was only 3 months ago that we had New Year's, but it's also almost halfway through the year, so I really don't know when we are. So before I know it, it's going to be the holidays, and apparently we'll have a PS5 by then. Chaos. If you guys know Sony, if you work for Sony, if you like me and you know anybody at Sony, tell them I want a PS5 because I can't afford that shit. But I will promote the hell out of Spider-Man on PS5. I bought a PS4 for Spider-Man. I can't afford to get a PS5 for Spider-Man 2. All right, over to more news this week. We talked about DC Fandome, and that story is going to develop as we go. I will definitely be filling you guys in more as that story develops. San Diego Comic-Con at Home was officially announced. SDCC at Home is coming at you for free. Now, when you go to Comic-Con and you live locally, it's going to set you back about $1,000 between tickets and hotels and all that stuff. When you are from another part of the country, Comic-Con is a hell of an expensive thing because $1,000 is already crazy, and to go beyond that with flights and everything else, woo! So it's a cool thing that a lot of people might get to experience their very first Comic-Con with this Comic-Con at Home situation. I personally am an extrovert. I'm big on crowds. I'm big on being in spaces. I'm personally bummed for me, selfishly, but selflessly, I'm very excited for all the people that have never had a Comic-Con SDCC experience getting to have their first one. That's pretty freaking cool. So there, you can actually get a little badge printed out and everything else. I think that's rad. I like little novelty things. So that is going to be coming at us the week of Comic-Con traditionally. So that's going to be July 22nd through 26th. So we'll have our Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, probably half day Thursday, half day Sunday, as is Comic-Con tradition. And there's going to be panels. There's going to be an exhibition hall. There's probably going to be discounts on some merch. I'm hoping there's an artist alley that you can get stuff mailed from with a lot of the artists that are always there. Remember to support local artists, especially with online sales. You can mail anything nowadays, so you can get all sorts of exclusive art through this very Comic-Con, which is very exciting. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming at us very, very soon. I think it's a really cool opportunity, again, for people all around the world to experience Comic-Con. They haven't announced any panels yet, but between you and I, there might be a panel if you're a fan of mine you want to watch. Can't say if that's definitely happening, can't say what it is, but maybe keep eyes out for certain people hosting panels at San Diego Comic-Con 2020. This is a Vegeta Cup. I saw someone in the chat get excited. Yes, it's a Vegeta Cup. Also, Louis Cox Dono, thank you. Thank you for getting excited. A super chat is always welcome. I appreciate you. I was just wondering where you're from. Where are you from, Louis? I just love seeing different symbols and such. All right. And obviously, as San Diego gets closer, we'll be talking about all of that, and when they can announce panels, I will obviously be announcing those as much as possible. But over in the Streamlabs, we've got Michael McCarsell. Thank you, man. Michael has this to say: I rewatched Batman Forever for the anniversary today. To this day, I still love the aesthetic and set design for this movie. Not the best movie, but I grew up on it, and I still get a kick out of it. Now, Michael McCarsell, who is the patron saint of watch-alongs, the first guy to jump on the watch-along, and we did a Deadpool one, and we're gonna we're going to do another one at the end of the month, and I'm hoping to redo the Deadpool one at some point when I've got some time and like have it live forever somewhere. Luckily, he was able to do it when we planned, and therefore Michael got to have the watch along with me, but I want to do it again. Michael, I agree, dude. Batman Forever is so much fun. Batman Forever is one of those movies that I think people accept the reality of what it is. I think critics are... It's not made for critics. I think it's not for people that are, like, going for cinema. But Val Kilmer as Batman is such a good time. I think it's a great mix between the Adam West flavor 60s Batman and the Nolan flavor that to come. I think it allowed us to have, like, a campy but somewhat serious, especially with Val Kilmer, the way he portrays Bruce Wayne. I like the villains in it. I think the Gotham that Joel Schumacher builds is absolutely incredible. I think the Gotham, the like you said, the aesthetic, I think the production design of Batman Forever is a lot of fun. It also got us the best behind-the-scenes line in history. Tommy Lee Jones telling Jim Carrey, he will not sanction his buffoonery. I will not sanction your buffoonery is one of those lines that you can't believe is ever said out loud without something scripting it, and that is the essence of Tommy Lee Jones. I will not sanction your buffoonery came out of Batman Forever. So yeah, I'm a big Schumacher fan. I love The Lost Boys. I love Phone Booth. So especially with Batman and Robin being what it was, I have a lot of appreciation for Batman Forever because it was going in the direction of being a McDonald's commercial, but it was not yet a McDonald's commercial. I would have loved to have seen Tim Burton do a Batman 3. I'm bummed we never got to see the great Billy D. Williams as Two-Face, but I do think what we got out of it is a lot of fun for what balance of tones it was able to do. So I totally agree with you, Michael. It absolutely holds up. It is a lot of fun. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Definitely sing its praises loudly, because a lot of people misremember it, or they're watching it for the wrong reasons. Anyone watching this show right now, check out Batman Forever again. It's way more fun than you remember, and it's a lot better than you remember. I totally agree, man, and thank you for the Streamlabs. All right, over to the news. We also have this week things coming out talking about the insanity of... Just briefly, we're going to do a giant release date shuffle, but before we do that, the casting news of the week has to be, must be, Ewan McGregor is playing Jiminy Cricket. Now, with The World on Pause, there hasn't been a lot of casting announcements. With The World on Pause, there hasn't been a lot of trailers. That's one of the reasons that Bill and Ted trailer just felt so warm and fuzzy, because it's been years since we had Bill and Ted, and now it's been quite some time since we've had a trailer. I am very excited to see what the insanity of a Guillermo del Toro Pinocchio is going to be, because that story is dark. That story is way more depraved than people realize, the original story. It's a real good time. So do keep your eyes peeled as this casting goes along. I'm very excited to hear the Ewan McGregor, like, mania and warmth. Like, you mix Moulin Rouge Ewan McGregor and a dash of Birds of Prey Ewan McGregor with Obi-Wan Ewan McGregor, and you have this, like, wise cricket. Yes, give me that Ewan. I'm very excited. We've got Jiminy Cricket as Ewan McGregor officially confirmed. Very cool. I'm excited. Guillermo del Toro, Pinocchio, Ewan McGregor. Come on! As far as the Disney live actions go, that one's got me excited. That one's spicy. All right. Let's see. We got another super chat from the great Lewis Cox, who says, I believe IGN did an update that said Spider-Man Miles Morales was its own game, but I don't know. I read the same update, and I don't know either. I've been trying to chase around what that game might be through so many websites until I hear from Yuri or someone at Sony. I will not know what that game is. And that is the tricky thing about the internet, is so many people have facts and so many people are running articles that it's like, what is the reality of this thing? But Lewis, yeah, I agree. That IGN article sounded definitive. Who knows? Okay, before I move over to the release date shuffle, I'm going to quickly just browse. People are very excited about the casting. Let's see. Jimmy, I am very excited. Thank you. It's good to hear that Wednesday mornings are made better with the madness of my streams. Coylandia would be an excellent country. Let's see. Yeah, going to Comic-Con even as a San Diegan is expensive. Dude, I went once and then had to take the next year off to recoup the money, and then I became a professional. So, the press badges are a different animal, but it's been a crazy journey. Yeah, Chad, what's your uncle saying? All right, over to the world of release dates, guys. Every single show since quarantine has had at least a release date shift. I've covered most of them, not all of them. Release dates are effectively a concept at this point. There was in I'd say 2014 to 2019, release dates were a science. There was an art to like grabbing that date and like holding that 2-week period. I figured Chad, but still ask him. Holding onto a date and having like a 2-week chunk, like, or even a month, like you can extrapolate out from where you are years ahead. July is always going to be a certain tone of movie. February used to be a just dump movies month, and then Deadpool helped reframe that. And earlier than that, in March of whatever year it was, 300 came out, and that changed what March was. So release dates are ever evolving, and it's always an interesting thing to watch what tone of movie is carved out in advance. I personally think that having a November James Bond is going to suit it much better than a summer release. I think November is a great time for Bond. It's a more adult action film. I feel like November, December are a lot more adults going to the cinema. But that's such an old way of thinking. I think movies around the year should be, I'd rather have 5 movies of different variety so I don't get sick of blockbusters, so I don't get sick of crying in Oscar films. I want a variety all year. So what's interesting about this is now, because of the coronavirus and because of the Oscar shifting, movie release dates are a completely different animal. The Academy Awards has moved its presentation to April, which means you can have your movie be eligible till the end of February. Now, for whatever reason, whether it's true or not, studios think that Academy Award members have like a 2-month memory. So the last 2 months leading up to the end of the Oscar eligibility season, all of the Oscar films come out. Last year, Joker came out way before the Oscars and still got a lot of love. So I'm hoping that, much like, like re-releasing films such as Parasite, remind Academy Awards voters, hey, this movie's good. It doesn't matter when it was released. So I'm very much hoping between all of these release date shuffles and the Oscar delay, we're gonna start seeing not a rom-com season, not a blockbuster season, not an Oscar season. We actually get versatility throughout the year. I'm hoping all of this shuffling leads to a better year for movies. I have to admit, even me, by late July, I'm a little superhero movied out. By August, I am a little tired of explosions. But by the same token, by the end of January, I'm like, I get it. Biopics are important. I understand your drama is key, Meryl Streep. I get it. You're acting. I'd love if we got some Meryl in April and some Spidey in December. I'd love more variety in when movies get released. So, that being said, this is the current update about some things being moved around. We had Tenet move from July 14th to July 31st. Inception is taking that July 14th spot for its 10-year anniversary. I just found out today in this very chat that it's already playing in Australia. July 31st is still jarringly soon, but I've heard a lot of things about Christopher Nolan wanting it released at a certain time. You can check out Coy-Cast, which is the audio podcast. Tomorrow, I talk way more about Tenet. Wonder Woman 84 is moving from August 14th to October 2nd. That is the third time the poor Wonder Woman has moved. I'm so excited for that movie, and I think it's good. We're going to make sure it's safe to come out. It's been done for so long. I cannot wait for Wonder Woman 84, man. It's not New Mutants, but man, oh man, is that movie pushed around. October 2nd, a perfectly fine date, especially in the new age of cinema where everything's not concentrated in one area. Matrix 4 is coming out in 2022 now. It has moved from May 21st of 21 to April 1st of 22. Now, what's interesting about that date, not just because it's April Fool's Day, but that used to be Shazam's date, and it is a mere 1 week after Doctor Strange 2. So, who's going to blink first, Doctor Strange or Matrix 4? Those movies have a lot of the same audience and crossover. Either Warner Brothers or Disney is going to blink in this game of chicken. I do not see those movies both staying on those dates. I do not see the last week of March having Doctor Strange and Matrix 4 coming out April 1st. So I've got my eyes peeled in those dates. And then Godzilla vs. Kong has moved from this year, October 20th, to next year in May. Godzilla vs. Kong feels like a summer movie in the outdated sense of the term. So next year in May, we get Godzilla vs. Kong. And finally, James Bond moves a whole 5 days sooner. We get James Bond November of this year on the 20th instead of the 25th. So, November 20th means it's a lot earlier than Thanksgiving. Before it was opening the day before Thanksgiving. Now it's got that whole week. Whether that hurts or helps it, we'll have to see. So, a hell of a shuffle, and a lot of interesting things because Godzilla moving an entire 6 months means more time for post. All those things are exciting. So, over into the super chat, I got one from Jesus Gastelum, who said, what are your thoughts about Spider-Man heading back to legacy numbering, and how bad is DC leaving Diamond, and how it impact comic book shops? Dude, I literally have 3 comic book stories in today's show, and I was so excited to get comic book news, and that's my headline story, so let's jump right to it. Spider-Man 850 Makes my heart sing, sir. I couldn't be more excited about basically. My comics are always segregated into different volumes. I have to put little barriers because the damn legacy numbering keeps going away and coming back. When they get to 850, I am very excited because that means I can finally have my full run be one chunk together again because I won't have to worry about 47, is that part of this? Oh no, because very soon it gets back to the big legacy numbering. So 850 is very exciting. I want more comics to do legacy numbering, especially if they can have, I know number one sell, give me 850 to 900, please. Just do me that favor. Give me 50 issues that are legacy, and then sure, get to 903 and change it to number one, but then write 904 in the corner. That's fine. That's great. Because by the time we get to 1,000, they're going to bring that number right back again. So I would love if 850 to 900 were legacy. I would love if it stayed legacy, but I understand the need for marketing. I understand the need for number ones. So I like when they have the big new number and then the legacy number right there. Keep on legacy. I'm a fan. As far as your DC Diamond question, it's messy. I know a few comic book shop owners. Some are neutral and some are unhappy. I don't know anyone that's happy about it. I know people that are neutral and are like, we'll figure it out. But already having New Comic Book Day be both Tuesday and Wednesday is a mess. New Comic Book Day has been Wednesday for decades. Having comics ship, one of my two main comic book shops, I go to House of Secrets and Golden Apple. One of my two main comic book shops is closed on Tuesday because they only close one day a week, and that's when they stock their stuff. So now, when new DC books are out, according to their schedule, they're closed. They've got to reframe their whole schedule because of the DC thing. Plus, when things go wrong in shipping, that's always messy. When you've got multiple phone numbers to call and multiple emails, it's a lot more complicated. I think monopolies are always a problem. I don't know the money side of things. I don't know if one's cheaper than the other. I don't know how that's going to work, but I do know that it's a mess. Especially since I see it as DC heading towards more trade paperbacks because of it, because they're trying to get Scholastic book fairs, and they're trying to appeal to younger audiences. They've got a lot of the DC Kids label stuff doing very well, which is really good stuff. I love the DC Kids label. But I feel like they're leaning into digital and trade and leaving weekly books a little behind, and that scares me because I'm a weekly book guy. I'm a Wednesday warrior. I like monthly comics. So it does concern me, but I don't know enough about it yet to really talk shit. I do think that Wednesday is the New Comic Book Day, and I do think that DC's putting comic book shops in a tricky position, but I haven't heard from anyone a definitive reason why it's financially bad, but it's just more complicated. I hope that answers your question, because that's how I feel about it. That's just my personal take. My mom's in the chat. What up, Mom? All right, let's see. Let's see. I don't think Marvel will leave Diamond. I don't think there's any reason to, and I don't think they have any infrastructure to build anything yet, but neither did DC. So maybe they will, but I don't know why they would, but I don't know why DC did. So I'm not on that side of things. I'm not on the publishing side, so maybe. All right, over to... Okay, we talked about the Oscars. Briefly, the Oscars are now April 25th of 2021, which means they will include the movies from January 1 of this year through February 28th of next year. So it is going to be a 14-month window as it stands now. As things are right now in this moment, we have 14 months worth of movies because there were 2, 3, probably by the end of this 4 months that aren't going to have movies. I think that's great. I think that streaming eligibility is great but tricky. I could see them going and just pushing to having the Oscars be February 2022 and including 2 years. Jeff Snyder over at Collider said that, and I could see them doing that, celebrating 2 years worth of cinema at once, and basically I don't know how that would work for Best Actor, Best Actress. I don't know if you do a 2020 and 2021. I don't know how that would work, but I don't think people are going to want to be promoting films. I don't think there's going to be a lot of there's so much marketing that goes into the Oscars. There's so much award ceremony. There's so much that this city is built on. So much of the infrastructure is around those 2 months. I don't see us wanting to be around 100 people. I don't see us wanting to be meeting 30 people an hour and just hoping for the best until we have a vaccine that's not going to be safe. And you need person-to-person contact for the Oscars. Not just for the ceremony itself, but for the Oscar season. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if this is going to hold true, but as it stands now, through February 28th, and streaming eligible films, so time will tell. We will see. I think it's great the Academy's at least being flexible, especially since we've had 2 months with no movies. Let's find out. All right, over to the world of other award shows. We are getting the Emmys this year in September as planned. We are getting Jimmy Kimmel as host. I'm a big Kimmel fan. I'm very excited. I also appreciate the fact that the Emmys have not gotten rid of hosts, because I think hosts are very important. All of my own biases very much withstanding. I think it's really weird when we get rid of hosts. But Jimmy Kimmel is doing the ceremony, and it will be in September. He literally doesn't know where it's going to be. He doesn't know what it's going to be. He doesn't know if it's going to be digital, but he does know he is excited to do it-ish. He said, let's see. He's got a quote here. Quote, "I don't know where we will do this or how we will do this or even why we are doing it, but we are doing it and I am hosting it," he said in the statement. It is going to be on September 20th, 2020, but a lot of questions still remain. Now, what's going to be interesting is a lot more people are watching TV. A lot more people are exposed to more TV because we have more streaming services than ever. It's a good time for a celebration of television. We're living in an age where art has never been more important because everyone's stuck at home. So I think it's great to celebrate art, and I think the Emmys are a good opportunity for the at-home crowd. So we will see. Jimmy Kimmel, I think, does a really good job balancing politics and fiction narratives, so I think he's a great idea for a host in these troubling times. I think September is going to be crazy. September is only 3 months from now, which is insane. So we'll see where the world lies in September, but as it stands now, Jimmy Kimmel hosting the Emmys in September. All right, over to... Oh, my computer is overheating. You guys have been warned. If I start getting choppy, I apologize. This is what happened last time. It is very, very hot where I am. All right. Back to the news. We had a new Irresistible trailer drop today. Irresistible is Jon Stewart's writing and directing, not debut, but he hasn't done it in a while. His comeback, if you will. Since 2015, when he left The Daily Show, he has been very quiet, and it's been lovely having Jon Stewart back in any sort of limelight. His New York Times article was so concisely brilliant. The way that man's mind works, he can say more in 2 sentences than most people say in 8 paragraphs. He thinks of the world in such a macro and is able to say it in such a micro, and vice versa. He gives all the shits. I love Jon Stewart, if you can't tell. So reading that article, I was like, there are smart people left. Thank you. So I really enjoyed that article, and I think this movie's going to be a lot of fun. I'm on a big West Wing tear right now, so obviously a even more comedic type of West Wing is going to be very welcome in theaters. I think it's still shooting for theatrical release. I don't know by the time it comes out if that's going to be an option. It stars Steve Carell as a politician that is trying to convince Chris Cooper to run for office in like a local election. It looks a lot of fun. I am very excited. I think it's going to be a good time. Mom, that is a great idea. I'm going to put my computer on top of ice cubes. Please hold, audience. All right. Ice cubes at the ready. My mom is wise. Okay. Boom. Okay. My computer is now sitting on top of ice cubes. Let's see how that goes. Apologies for the delay momentarily. Okay, let's see. Okay, apologies. There's a bunch of pillows. Hugh Jackman is the one I think you're seeing. The one directly behind me is Hugh Jackman. Ice trays and set them near the computer. Okay. Just generally near it? I've never done this before. Okay. Back to the show. Okay, so the trailer looks great. You can check it out on YouTube, obviously, but also do check out that New York Times interview from Jon Stewart. It is delightful. I love what Trevor Noah is doing at The Daily Show. It's just a very different show. Trevor Noah is not Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart is not Trevor Noah. It was nice to remember that tone of commentary. I think Trevor Noah's got one of the most unique perspectives in the world, and he's a brilliant stand-up. But I think that Jon Stewart plus his writing team was the best punditry I've ever seen. So it took me a little bit to separate Jon Stewart from The Daily Show, but now that I have, I love what Trevor Noah's doing. I'm just really glad to have Jon Stewart back for even a month. I'm just glad to have him back. All right, over to the world of movie theaters opening. It's good my mom is here. She might not know this stuff. Regal Cinemas, Mom, not AMC. Regal is officially opening on July 10th. July 10th is only three-ish weeks away. They're going to have a fair amount of protocols and setup. including but not limited to. This is what scares me. Regal Cinemas will begin reopening its locations July 10th, but if you live in a state or city where masks aren't required, then you don't have to. What the fuck? If they are required, you need to wear them in the public areas, like going in and out of the theater, etc. The procedures involve limiting audience to 50% only in the states they're required. Masks will be worn by employees and guests in areas where it's mandated by the state. Online reservation systems will ensure that there are 2 empty seats between groups, 1 empty seat for recliner locations, and guests will be asked to leave 2 seats when they book their seats ahead of time, and obviously online seating is very common nowadays. Employees will sanitize every auditorium and seat after each movie using new electronic fogger equipment. Regal says this form of deep sanitation is highly effective in disinfecting all new materials with a non-toxic formula that is fast drying. It sounds like, you know, when you like see those really intense sci-fi movies when they just like fill a room with smoke, like this sounds intense, y'all. We'll see how that goes. Contactless payment is being amped up. Guests will be able to purchase both tickets and concession items through the Regal app. AMC is already doing that at a lot of locations, but still seems scary. Theater employees will undergo daily health screenings, including temperature checks where mandated, and be required to wash their hands at least once per hour. How are you possibly going to keep on that? Greeters will be posted in the lobby to answer questions about the new protocols, and every other concession stand cash register will be closed to help maintain social distancing. A reduced menu will be temporarily available. Drink and popcorn refills will be suspended, and theaters with diners, restaurants, and in-theater ordering will suspend those services temporarily. Walk-up bars will remain in service. Between filling the theater with smoke that theoretically disinfects and all of the rest of this sounding like a dystopian movie, your boy's probably not going to be at the movie theater for a little bit, but boy, oh boy, is that intense. I love that they're trying. You guys know I love the movie theater. I love that they're trying to implement protocols. I know movie theaters are hurting. I know they're literally hemorrhaging billions of dollars. We need to rethink the entire system, not just part of it. Like, if we can be crippled in a month because we shut down, clearly there's something wrong with the way things are. If there can be trillionaires and there can be millions of people homeless on the streets, clearly there's something wrong with capitalism, especially in its current form. If you can be a billionaire and not give a shit about people barely making it by with like $10K a year, there's something wrong with that. I think that this is a bigger change than just like unplugging it and plugging it back in with these 3 months. Like, there's a lot of fucking problems. So I don't want to lose movie theaters. I hope that somehow we reinvigorate the entire system. It scares the fuck out of me that we're willing to like lose the elderly and those that are immunocompromised for, you know, this COVID thing to boost the economy. The fact that this monopoly money, there's not even a gold standard anymore in this country. We just pretend this money is worth something. Wall Street is just a concept. Like, we just pretend money's got some value. So we're literally saying that people are worth killing for the sake of this monopoly bullshit. Like, it's fucking gross. And at the same time, there's so many industries I know that'll never recover the same way. Like, restaurants and movie theaters are always tenuously staying on. I'm terrified that they won't be able to reopen unless they reopen now, but it shouldn't be that way. We shouldn't have to sacrifice people's lives for the sake of these industries. So, I personally won't be going back to the theater soon. If I do, I'm going to be doing that 2-week thing I started the show with, where I get tested, wait days, get my response back, go to the movie theater, quarantine again, get tested. Like, that's the only way I'm going to go out in public. So I'm going to be able to go out in public once every 2 weeks, maybe? It's so messy, y'all. But I'm not going to be complicit in other people dying because I accidentally, like, spread this thing if I was asymptomatic. You never know. It's fucked up. People not wearing masks, fuck you. Alright, over to, so that's just Regal. We'll see what AMC's statement's going to be. Either way, it is a weird time. It's a weird time, y'all. Alright, Umbrella Academy Season 2 officially drops on July 31st, as we know, but we finally have some official stills, and it looks like at least a lot of the show is set in the 1960s. That is very exciting for me to see a 1960s set Umbrella Academy. I loved Season 1. The comic is crazy. There's a lot of opportunity here, especially with playing with time periods. They can do a lot of stuff to make it feel different than the first season. Very, very excited. Yeah, we find out very soon. July 31st is not far away. All right. Over in the world of comics. Actually, let's do some, let me check the Streamlabs, and I'll jump in the chat real quick, and then we're going to do comics, and we're going to wrap up on time today. I'm trying to keep the show under an hour, and I have failed to do that every week. All right. Loading up them Streamlabs. Mom, this seems to be working. You're a genius. I have my computer literally sitting on top of the tray, so it's separated from the ice cubes, but it's cooling it down. Wise. My mom, she's got them tricks. All right, into the chat. Let's do, yeah. People are agreeing. They are feeling the Regal's a little scary. Yikes, not doing that. Yeah, right? These are crazy things. Yeah, until we close down again. That is definitely going to be happening. How'd my test go? Oh, yeah, negative. That's how I open the show. If you're just joining us, I do not have COVID-19 as of press. And I went out and marched again, so I'm taking another test on Friday. And that's what I'm doing, is I'm going quarantine, testing, going quarantine, testing. So as of now, I'm golden. And feels good to know for sure, and I'll know again on Friday for this round of it, while my body either adjusts or whatnot. So thank you. I appreciate your concern. All right. Get tested if you live in a city especially. All right. Comic books. 3 bits of comic book news. It feels so good that comic books are coming back to the level there's comic book news. We already talked about one of those things, and that is Nick Spencer and Ryan Ottley's Amazing Spider-Man reaching the giant 850 mark. It is going to be an oversized issue with Mark Bagley, Ryan Ottley, lots of incredible artists. It's going to have Tradd Moore writing and drawing Spider-Man in there. I'm very excited for an oversized glory that is Spider-Man 850. Probably set you back $10. They usually those oversized issues for about $10, but 850, real excited. That is around the corner in September. Spider-Man reaches 850 issues. How cool is that? And thanks to some incredible folks, including Darth Vadad and Max Shorts, I am now only 33, just 33, not 333. I'm just 33 issues away from every Amazing Spider-Man, and thereby every Spider-Man in print, and 9 annuals. So 42 comics total, 33 of the main series, 9 annuals, and I have all of them. Darth Vadad sent me a beautiful issue recently, and Max Shorts before that, and this is Spidey Cat, who is named after the Amazing Spider-Man himself. He is my co-host for today. So Norman Osborn is back in that issue. Norman Osborn, I think, has something to do with that weird bandagey villain that's been appearing, but he's back as the Green Goblin in issue 850. I am very excited. Over in the world of Hulk, the Immortal Hulk is one of the best runs of Hulk ever. Al Ewing is writing that. With the upcoming Empyre event, Al Ewing is going to be writing the Immortal She-Hulk. We are getting the same treatment for She-Hulk, and I am very excited. Spidey is going to run. Do you like to be free? Oh, he's trying to get comfy. Spidey. There he goes. Okay, so Immortal She-Hulk is coming from Al Ewing with the big Empyre Summer event. We're going to have 3 big summer events, I think. We're going to have the Empyre event, we're going to have X-Swords, which we're going to talk about here in a minute, and we've got some cool stuff coming from Donny Cates with a lot of symbiote stuff. So, very excited for the summer with comic books, and very excited for the glory of Immortal She-Hulk, because I love She-Hulk. I think Jennifer Walters is one of the greatest characters in Marvel Comics, and I'm very excited for her show. But also, Al Ewing writing her plus all the Immortal stuff, yes. So Immortal She-Hulk is getting a one-shot, and I'm curious how those ramifications last with She-Hulk, because that's a great character. I'd love to see her get a book again. Her last book was a lot of fun. All right, over to the world of X-Men. X-Swords, which is one of the big crossovers coming up in the world of X-Men from Jonathan Hickman again, his next big event this summer. X-Swords was going to be a 15-issue series. It is now going to be 24. So I think quarantine / people having more time to write and illustrate books has upped that from 15 to 24 issues. So including all the crossovers and one-shots and everything else, it looks like it's a 24-part mega event. So X-Swords, to my knowledge, is X-Men with swords. Sure. So that is coming this summer. Keep an eye out for it. I hope it's not as silly as it sounds. I'm actually most excited for Donny Cates' big event out of the 3 of those. But with Al Ewing involved, I am very curious about Empyre. I'm not big on Cosmic compared to street level, so I'm obviously going to be pulling for the street level stuff a little bit more. So She-Hulk's got my interest, but Empyre itself, I'm going to read it. We'll see. All right, over to the world of last week's comics. My favorite books from June 10th. I'm going to read in just a second, but first I'm going to check in on the live chat. My cat is very needy. Hi, buddy. The beard is causing much cat licking. Okay, in the world of the chat, My mom is wise like Yoda. That is correct. Let's see. Da-da-da. Mainly just excited Spidey folk. Yes, he is fantastic. He's like a very average sized cat. I feel like he's like, 12, 13 pounds. Yeah, all right. That's your cat news for the day. All right, last week's comic books for the week of June 10th. I want to go over some of my favorites. As always, you can check my Instagram. I do this 9 grid where I give my 9 favorites, sometimes like 10 or 11, but I list them all out. And then if you're a patron, I do all of my reviews in letter grade for all the comics I read week to week to week, and that's over on my Patreon. But the number ones, like the ones that I highly recommend from last week, June 10th, I recommend Adventure Man #1, a new book from Matt Fraction and the Dodsons. The Dodsons, incredible artists. Matt Fraction, brilliant writer. And this book is a very accessible book. It has like a great Rocketeer flavor. It has this classic golden age superhero quality to it, which suits both of their sensibilities, the Dodsons and Fraction. But it's a book inside a book, which is a lot of fun. I'm really intrigued by this one. #1 was great. We've also got Batman 92. Batman finally catches back up. We've been teasing Punchline for a long time. Punchline finally gets to show up in all of her glory. I am excited about this character. I'm a fan of this issue. Batman 92 was fantastic. Batman The Adventure Continues #1 is finally in print. It has been digital only for some time. You can now get that book in print. I'm very excited. I love Batman the Animated Series, and I love having that storyline continued in this comic book. Batman's Grave #7, Warren Ellis and Brian Hitch continuing their very detective, very action-based Batman book. I'm loving this mini. Black Cat. I can't believe how good Black Cat is. Jed Knight is writing the hell out of Black Cat. I've always thought that character deserved better than she got, and now she's got a miniseries that's fantastic. Actually, it's a full-on series now. We're at issue 11. Black Cat, #11, fantastic book. Daredevil #20. Daredevil #20 is my book of the week. It is an A+. It is my only A+ of the week. Daredevil continues to be shockingly good. Chip Zdarsky just gets this character. The action is beautifully framed and illustrated by Checchetto. The writing is top-notch. The cliffhangers are always jarring. I love Daredevil. It's a perfect book. It's an A+. Excellence #7. Excellence is a book. Imagine if Harry Potter was more adult-oriented, like it was like people in their 20s and 30s, and it also had a lot more pop culture references, and it was based on Black lives and the importance of Black culture. That is Excellence. It is about Black excellence, and it's about wizards, and it's badass. I am loving Excellence. It took a big break. I talked about issues 1 through 6 a long time ago. I've actually talked about it at Skybound. You can find me talking about Excellence in a few other places, but it's back with issue 7. And what caught my eye was the cover is a Juice reference. Tupac's movie Juice. It's my favorite Tupac movie. And they recreated the cover of Juice with Excellence #7. It's incredible. Over to Joker. Joker 80th anniversary issue. Joker has a 100-page mega anthology book. It lives up to the expectation and the price tag. It's got a bunch of different stories from the top creators that have worked on Joker lately. I loved this book. I loved all the shorts. I love the different perspectives of Joker. I love that character. It's very good. Kill Lock #5, the second to last issue in this miniseries that came out of nowhere for me. Joe Starr over at Screen Junkies was like, hey, check out this IDW book, Kill Lock. I think you'd dig it. And I do. It's so good. It's got more humanity in it than most books, and it's about robots. It's very good. It's like if Transformers was really, really good. And more violent. Something is Killing the Children #7 from James Tynion IV is a noir mystery about something that's killing the children. It's very good, and it's dark as fuck. All right, this week I recommend Daphne Byrne #5. I haven't read these yet. These are just the books the top of my list are Daphne Byrne #5, Dark Knight's Death Metal #1. Scott Snyder coming back to Death Metal with Greg Capullo. Very excited. Event Leviathan Checkmate #1. Family Tree #6, Green Lantern Season 2 #4 from Grant Morrison and Liam Cunningham. Question, The Deaths of Vic Sage is back with issue #4. Strange Adventures #2, my book of 2020 got delayed a real long time between 1 and 2. I'm excited, I'm picking it up tomorrow. Strange Adventures #2. Superman #22, Bendis with the now identity revealed Clark Kent, and Young Justice #15. Those are my top books of this week tomorrow. Those are tomorrow's pulls. So I think the 24th, Marvel has a week and then a week off. Marvel's doing every other week. DC's doing every week and a lot of digital stuff. Comics are coming back, y'all. I'm very, very excited. All right. checking the Streamlabs and the chat before I head out. We are actually going to do this under an hour. I'm very excited. I'm not doing streaming recommendations this week. Last week I gave a bunch of streaming recommendations about how you can inform yourself. If you don't want to read, if you don't want to read the news, if you don't want to dive into that stuff, you can get information from movies. I gave my top 10 movies, it was 10-ish, I'd recommend, and what streaming places they were on last week, so check out the end of last week's episode. And if you go to Netflix right now, there's an entire Black Lives Matter category where you can get some knowledge. You can learn about so many things that for some reason history class didn't teach us. We learned that once things were abolished, that everything was great, and that was a fucking lie. So watch some of the Netflix movies, watch a bunch of the Netflix movies. It's all put together for you. Amazon also has a bunch of movies that are free to rent right now that just left theaters. It's a really important way to spend your time. So I'm not going to give my own recommendations because other smarter people are doing it. I think next week I will bring my recommendations back from last week, and I'm probably going to do an Instagram video of white boy recommendations of movies, comics, and maybe albums of stuff that help inform me. It's a tricky line because I'm actively working on just listening. I don't want to be... I use my voice for a living, but I don't want my voice to crowd other voices, so I'm giving it as much space and time, but I also want to give you guys my take, my opinion on stuff, because these are things that help inform me. So I think next week I'll either do that here or on Instagram and give some ideas over there. So let's check out the live chat. All right, let's see. Back to the cat. Finished reading Hawkspox, such a good series. It absolutely is. Seth's cat is big. Seth's got a big cat. Let's see. I did a video on some Skrull-related Marvel annuals that were among my first exposure to Skrulls in the honor of Empire. Guy, check out Darth Vadad's page. He's in the chat right now. It's Darth Vadad. He has got one of the most wholesome channels on YouTube, and he's got some great insight. Check him out. I'm subscribed to him. I'm only subscribed to like 5 people, and Darth Vadad is one of them. So if you want to check that out, check my subscriptions or just type that in because it's easy to type. And apparently he's got some stuff about Skrulls. So, Weston Iro, this cat does have more comic book knowledge than most of the Schmodown. He hangs out with me while I read comics, and he gets so much through osmosis. He also loves reading. He also loves Spider-Man. Like, he genuinely is drawn to posters and art of Spidey. He's wise. It's my boy. It is so hot. Let's see. Fraction of the Dotsons, sign me up. It's only on issue 1, man. Check it out. Adventure Man #1 out right now. Let's see. Dude, Luigi, that is a great name. Luigi Ferdinand. How do I feel about Punchline so far? I love that we have a new, more serious, female antagonist that is new. Like, we have so many new Batman villains all the time. Batman's got one of the best rogues galleries of all time. I love the idea of someone for Harley to go toe-to-toe with. I love the idea that Harley's left Joker behind. Now there's a new girl. I like her origin so far. She's got a great origin punch-out. In the Joker 80th anniversary, there's a lot of really cool stuff over there. So check out that Joker comic and check out Batman 92. I'm really digging Punchline so far. She was hyped for like 3 months and she's somehow living up to it, which is impressive. All right. Let's see. More Spidey Cat, always. Am I big into Star Wars? I am not. Star Wars is one of the more aggressive fandoms. I don't like people being mean to each other, so I tend to not... Like, I don't engage in Spider-Man Twitter, because most Spider-Man fans on Twitter are really... They think they wrote Spider-Man. They think, like, this is the Spider-Man that's right. And I'm like, fuck you guys. Anyone can wear the mask. How do you not understand that concept? So I don't generally engage in Spider-Man Twitter, but likewise, Star Wars fans scare the shit out of me. So I don't touch Star Wars fandom, because I enjoy the movies, and my favorite one is The Last Jedi. My favorite Star Wars since Empire's Last Jedi, and I think the way they took Star Wars is not what I would have done, but I didn't write them, so I don't talk about them. But that's my prerogative. So it's just, it got too much for me, and people are mean. So yeah, Star Wars isn't my shit, but out of being pushed out of it. I used to really like Star Wars. I love the universe. I love the concepts. I think that it's an underdog world, so it's really ironic that it's become such, like, so many fans are Siths that don't understand what it means to be a Jedi. So I'm casually a Star Wars fan, but I don't talk about it publicly. I'm there opening night every movie. Don't get me wrong. It's just not a public thing. All right. Okay. Yeah. All right, I did give my opinion on the Miles Morales game. I don't know what it is, but I'm excited for it. I think the animation is spectacular. I think it looks so gorgeous. I love the Spider-Man game, on the 2018 Spider-Man game. I think we are so blessed with so much Spider-Man content. I think Miles Morales is a fascinating character. His current run is actually my favorite of his runs. The run that's on issue 17 right now it's so different from Peter Parker. It's so much about Brooklyn. It's so much about the flavor of what Miles represents. It really captures what I see Miles as. I'm a big fan of it, so I'd love for a game to do the same. I mean, Spider-Verse is the best Spider-Man movie we've had, so if a game can capture any of that, yes, all in. I hope it's more than just an extended DLC, but I'm very excited. So, I think that's going to do it for everybody. I'm going to check the Streamlabs one last time. Thank you guys all for being here while I overheated. Mom, thank you for the ice cube idea. That definitely saved the day. This thing was almost cutting out the stream. You guys are amazing. You make my week. I'm not seeing a lot of people, so it's great to connect to the masses every week on Koi Cubed. I'm very excited to see what this next week and release date shuffles brings. As always, check out my Patreon for comic book news, for movie reviews, for all the jazz, and exclusive podcasts. Every Tuesday, I drop the Patreon-only podcast where I review every movie I watched that week, as well as every single comic book I read that week. Do tons and tons of stuff, so check that out if you're interested. And as always, thank you for being here. I love sharing with you guys, and I love our little team up. So until next week, thank you for existing, and as always, thank you, comic books, for existing. Much love, y'all. I'll see you soon.